The day has finally arrived. It's finally August 3rd, the day that I've been waiting for. Here goes packing, here comes the goodbye parties, and finally I'm walking on that MIA airport, getting ready to, wait, nope, not board the plane, but to change my ticket.
Did I chicken out? Nope. I'm here to share with you a little update, but things did change.
Hi, my name is Aisha Arias. I am currently a staff with InterVarsity Link, and I'm working with GBU Chile, which stands for Grupo Bíblico Universitario. I was supposed to move last year, as many of you might know, but because of the pandemic, I have been working with the students and doing all of my work remotely here in Miami through Zoom. However, things are changing really fast in Chile. They are reopening the country, and so that means that many of the universities that I'm working with are starting to move their classes in person. And so there is a greater need for me to move and be in person as well. What happened? Why did I have to change my flight date? So I had this ticket bought in the beginning of July and had announced to friends and family and supporters that August 3rd was going to be the day that I was leaving Miami. By July 26th, things had drastically changed. The first thing that they announced is that Chile is opening its borders, allowing people to come and go from Chile a little more freely. And we thought that that was going to be great. This was prayers answered. This was exactly what we had wanted. But when we started reading the new regulations, things didn't seem so exciting. Why? From a 5-day quarantine, they were asking to have it as a 10-day quarantine. Not only that, but my vaccines are not recognized in Chile. So according to the new law that was enacted, I would have to do a 10-day quarantine in a hotel out of the list that the government provided or authorized. And in that list were only hotels that were the most expensive in Santiago. In fact, all the 5- and 4-star hotels are mentioned. It was to a great disadvantage to all of us that were arriving to Chile. I joined multiple chats. I joined a Facebook group, Instagram accounts that were of Chileans going through the same experience that I was. And these are Chileans that were out of the country for studies, for business. All of us were trying to arrive to Chile in the next couple of weeks. And so this really impacted us because we had thought and prepared for the other plan, not for this one. We saw the average price for hotels was around $1,000, and a missionary lifestyle doesn't really include so many luxurious items. So I did not have this budgeted at all, and even though I could do it, it was going to create a big hole for things to come, such as rent and other expenses while I'm within the country, especially the first few months. I started going crazy on those on all those chats every day. Even if you left for an hour, I would come back and I would have over 200 unread messages. It was just impossible to keep up with everything that was happening. All the people that were arriving at their airport and were just sharing their testimonies or their experiences of how things were going. You might be asking yourself, why is it so difficult to recognize vaccinations done elsewhere? Are they using the same vaccines? Yes, in fact, I got the Pfizer. I got both doses. And in Chile, they are using Pfizer, they're using Moderna, they're using AstraZeneca, and they're using a few other ones. But you would think because it's Pfizer, it would be easier to recognize. However, Chile has enacted the health passport or the vaccine passport. In Chile, the program recognizes people that were vaccinated within national territory because it goes directly into their database. And so they still haven't figured a way out to include those of us that have gotten our vaccines elsewhere, because they don't know how to validate our documentation. Since my documentation is literally just like a white little card, as many of you might have, not a QR code, not like loads of documentation. It's a little white card that someone, a nurse, wrote on. And so for Chile, that somehow is troublesome. But the changes don't stop there. So July 29th comes around, and they say that after so many requests and pretty much the protesting that was happening through Instagram and all these different social media platforms, they were going to start a program in order to start validating and giving recognition to those that were vaccinated elsewhere. That program was going to start August 6th. We were all really excited. We were really glad that finally the government was going to start accepting our vaccinations. But for me, it was a little annoying because I had my ticket and I was arriving August 4th, and literally 2 days after I arrived, this program was going to begin. We were waiting for more details from the government, and they announced that it was going to be a process that actually would take an average of 2 weeks. So even though it would open August 6th, it would take around 2 weeks for the government to go through all of the documentation and finally come to a conclusion as to whether that vaccine was verifiable or not, and whether you would be entered into the national program and have greater freedoms to move around, to go to public spaces, and to do the quarantine at home instead of a hotel. I saw it as a prayer answered, and I started to share that with family. I started to talk with the general secretary in Chile, Gustavo Sobarzo, who's my boss, and I talked with also friends and other people that I trusted. I also even sent a few messages within the chats of the Chileans that were going through the same experience, and in all places I heard the same thing: just delay the flight, delay it, and try to get all your paperwork done and have that validation before entering the country, because things are so much smoother and so much easier than if you go without it. So after praying and thinking about it, by Friday of that week, so a few days ago, I made that decision. I went online to LATAM and was trying to do the change of my flight date because of COVID and all these things. So LATAM was giving this offer that if you bought the ticket before a certain day, then you were going to be allowed a one-time change without having to pay any type of fee. I had that awesome opportunity. It's easier to change the ticket than to have to pay those $1,000. I started the process online, and it said I couldn't do it, so I had to call through the phone and do it with an agent. The agent told me that it would take 2 days. It was a little strange, but I waited those 2 days, and I didn't receive any type of email or a call. So Sunday I call, and I'm notified that I had to end up going in person to the airport on Monday to do that whole change. Thankfully, even though there was a little fee to it, it was just $27. And considering all the other things that I was going to have to pay for a hotel and all this other stuff, I felt like this was an answer from God, and that He was also providing a window of opportunity. And so just wanting to ask you guys to continue praying for me. I'm going to be staying here in Miami for the month of August, just using this time to prepare for the things that I will have to show in that documentation. But yeah, just be in prayer so that by the time September comes around, I already have that passport from Chile. My vaccines are validated there, and hopefully that there is no need for even a quarantine, or for the quarantine to be able to be done in Temuco, and I have to do it in Santiago. I will be here, so if you still want to hang out or call or anything, I'm gonna be around. And other than that, thank you so much for your prayers and support. I'll be checking in with you again with another video in the future.